The perspectives shared by the participants in this podcast are solely their own and not intended as medical advice. For any health issues, we strongly recommend seeking guidance from a licensed professional.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Rare Realities with Madimo Mimo Mokgosi, where we dive into the emotional journeys of individuals living with rare conditions, where we tell one story at a time. Imagine going to the doctor and coming back with a diagnosis that it can either be cured, cannot be cured. Now you have to live with it for the rest of your life. Today is quite interesting. I have Khosi Buthelezi. Yes, who is living with Hirsutism.
Yes.
Where she gets facial hair growth. You know what? Please introduce yourself and tell us about the condition before we get into the conversation.
Great. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Khosi Nkanyezi Buthelezi, and everybody knows me as Khosi Buthelezi, or your favorite bearded star, as they call me on the radio show. And I live with the condition. I don't like defining myself as the condition itself. And it took me a while. So for a girl that grew up hairy to a girl that people started questioning, why do you have hair on your face? And then realizing that there's actually a medical term. It took me at least 30 odd years of my life before I actually realized that there is this thing and it is called a condition. But I'm just a hairy girl.
Yeah.
And that's what it is for me. But it's a symptom, and it's a symptom that shows up as hair for my particular condition. However, for other people, there's different causes for it. There's people that have it because they have hormonal imbalance. There's people that have it because they have PCOS. I won't even try to tell you what PCOS stands for. And there is a lot of people that have it because of age, and there is people that have it because they have high testosterone, and I have it because of genetics.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So, Mom?
It is more on my father's side. So my great-grandmother had it, my grandmother had it, my aunt had it. That is my father's older sister. And I happen to have hair or body hair from both families, so maternal and paternal.
Okay.
But on the paternal side, they then had the facial hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you've got like full beard on. Because I know there are like women who has like, you see there and there. And I saw some. And I'm like, where you going?
I have hirsutism.
Where are you going? So for someone who grew up knowing that, okay, there are women, and in Nerere, I don't know if you understand Sotho, but we used to say, if a woman has beard, then hope.
Oh, man.
That was...
And I thought you were going to use the word chobolo because that's the one I know. And it might not be suited, might be Tswana, you know, but it's all suited to me. So here's the thing. I grew up as a girl with hair. And I grew up as a So I grew up with the sideburns as a little kid.
Yeah.
And teen years, I still had ihwanga. And and funny enough, the thickest hair I have on my body is on my head and on my chin. The rest, it's a bit more fine. Like you need to be close enough to see that actually this woman has a lot of hair. But the rest of the body is not as thick as the hair and on my face and on my head. So I suppose it chose this area, you know? But you then, as a person also who grew up not so close to the father side of the family, I didn't see the women with the hair or with the beard.
Okay.
And I got to my 20s, early 20s, I started growing a mustache. And I think with women, mostly they have the mustache. They don't have the full beard.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I had the sideburns, I had the mustache, and I got into corporate and I had to remove that. And then my chin started growing like 2-3 strands of hair. And I didn't take it serious. And my aunt would tell me, don't cut it or don't remove it. Otherwise
it would get more.
it gets to be more. And I thought, whatever. And as I cut the strands, I had more growing. And the more I shaved, the more grew. And then I actually started doing or going through the removal process. And removal process then with every other beauty method, then they'll tell you what's the next best thing to do. So from shaving, I went to waxing. And by the time I was waxing, it was more strands coming out of my chin. And with waxing, it's the pain, it's the cost, it's the monthly appointments, it's trying to be there in that particular salon at the time that your appointment is on. And I was moving around because my job took me everywhere. So then the trend was laser. So laser treatment was the thing, and it was going to remove everything. So I started doing laser, and laser was great for my mustache, and it removed the strands. And almost 2 years, I didn't have any hair. I was as smooth as a baby's bottom. I moved to Cape Town, which meant I'm moving away from the salon I used to use for my hair removal. Next thing I know, it started growing out, and it was a full beard.
Ew.
I never had a full beard when I went through the treatment. And as it started growing out, even before it showed up as a full beard, then my doctor would be concerned, and he said, no, let's check your hormones. Let's see if you need to go on hormone treatment. Let's see if it's an issue, and we needed to test for fertility as well, because again, the problem with us is that we tend to label a lot of things, right? And with the labeling, then people just then bombard you with solutions. Which is also the issue, because I started going through the solution of laser before it was even an issue. And with then the treatment or all the diagnosis coming back negative, so I don't have PCOS, I did not have issues with fertility, but the hair kept growing. So I had to then go back in history, and that's when I discovered that all the matriarchy of my paternal side had this thing.
Would you say that it bothered you growing up?
Honestly, it didn't. It didn't bother me as hair on my body. It bothered me as something that fascinates men. And it's a whole different aspect to it. It bothered me because you had men that are fascinated with women with hair on their body. You have the men that are going to give you attention because you have sideburns. You have all these nicknames that you get. I mean, during my teen years to my 20s, I was called Peaches because I'm light-skinned and I have the hair. I had to deal with what this hair did to someone else. It had nothing to do with me. I got to corporate, and I had to deal with management saying your job is a facilitator. So as someone who stands in front of a crowd all the time, you need to look clean, you know? It wasn't a self thing.
Somehow discrimination.
And then it was the process of removing it for the sake of looking clean in front of everyone else. And it became a thing for probably over 10, 15 years. And at the point where I got tired, because the more it grew, and as a full beard, and the more I shaved, and the more I tried everything else to remove the hair, then I also had ingrowns. So ingrown hair is a problem. Ingrown hair is a problem because your pigmentation changes. You have itchy chin, and you have these things that come off your chin. So I actually then just figured it's better to have the hair than to deal with the rest of it. And luckily, the luck part is not the fact that I stopped working, but it's the fact that I did not have to stand in front of a crowd anymore. So I could let it grow. And it took me on a journey of defining who I am It took me on a journey of self-love and embracing how I look. It took me on a journey of getting to understand what femininity means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so sad how society looks at a woman with beard and they think they need to clean up. But when
Yes.
it's a man, then it's normal. That's how a beard must look. Like, why?
I still have no idea, but I have to give it up for men because when I finally decided that I don't want to remove the hair anymore, and I figured it's also a new thing for me. I know how to take care of the hair on my head, not because I can do self-care by myself, but I have to go to the salon and stuff. But you don't have female beauty institutions that know how to care for beard.
Yeah.
So I had to tap into the male side. And I was still on Facebook then with my account as Khosi Nkanyezi Buthelezi. So I reached out to the gents to say, hey, listen, I've decided that I'm going to join you for the Movember movement. And Movember for men is November and they grow their beard.
Yeah.
So what do I do? Give me tips. And you had men that would be like, oh, but I don't have hair. And then you have people that are jealous. You have people that are questioning why you would leave the hair. Yo, you're beautiful. Just remove the hair. And I'm thinking, you have no idea where I've been.
Yeah.
My journey is longer than you thinking because I'm posting something, I must remove the hair.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for all the guys that gave me the tips. So then I knew that I have to, other than just washing it, I have to think about beard oil. I have to think about the type of comb I use and. So here I am now.
And when it comes to, don't you get like questioned
Yes.
on your gender?
Oh, I do. And so there's two folds. There's people that question my gender. Actually, three. There's people that question my gender because I have no idea how the rest of your body is feminine or female, and just because you have hair on your chin, then people think you're a man.
Yeah.
Then there's people that will think if you keeping the hair and you're female, and we can see you're female, then we move from gender to sexual orientation, and they start questioning my sexuality. And then you have people that will say, women grow hair. It is what it is. So let her be. Yeah.
And I'm glad that you chose to actually accept and not take it away.
Yeah.
Because it's somehow part of you and who you are, you know? I don't think if you were to like laser everything and like, we'd be able to recognize you there.
Well, I think you would.
Because Khosi is now Khosi with the beard.
Yes,
Khosi the beard, you know?
Of course.
Yeah. And it suits you. Like, I'm looking at you and I'm like, it does really suit you. I know, like, I also grew up like being hairy, but most of, like, my face is also hairy.
Yes.
But I think I'd get upset if I were to wake up. Because my friends call me Bafo.
All right.
Because I'm hairy.
Oh,
you
man.
know, I've got like your mustache.
Yes.
But now imagine if I had like a full face on. You don't look cute, but maybe not.
It takes getting used to. I will tell you, it is. And it's not even just getting used to because you're looking at yourself in the mirror. It was a lot for me. It was a lot. But what it helped trigger is getting into a introspecting how I view myself, what I think about beauty, what I think about being a female, having to deal with and I suppose it's luck and not, but everything is meant to be something, right? Everything happens for a reason. So considering the fact that I didn't grow up with my father and now having this facial hair that I inherited from him, I couldn't just ignore that part of my life. I needed to have answers from his side of the family. I needed to get into love, man, get into love. And I think a lot of females that struggle with self-love, are the type of women that also struggle with feeling abandoned. And it opened that door.
Yeah.
It opened that door for me to deal with saying, I love me. I love what he gave me despite our circumstances.
Yeah.
And it went through, I went through a lot of healing methods. I went through a lot of workshops, a lot of retreats, just to get to me, just to be able to even look at myself in the mirror and then extend that by being comfortable with how
You look.
people react to
Oh,
how I
okay.
look.
When we get to people reacting, I know you quite big on socials.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with the negative comments? Because I know they will always, regardless of how strong we are,
Yes.
and be like, okay, I've learned to block negativity.
Mm.
But I know there is that one comment that will literally just get to you. How do you deal with that?
There will be that comment. I normally say to people that ask me that question that before I have a beard, I'm a human. Before I have a beard, I am a woman. Before I have a beard, I have insecurities. And the beard is just an extra. On days where I have a good mood, I ignore the fact that I have a beard and I worry about people noticing that I don't have a six pack. On days where I've been overeating my emotions, I worry about the fact that I've gained weight more than I have a beard.
Oh.
There's then the days where I have something. So say that there's an offer, and the offer says we can do or come work with us on or collaborate with us for this or that. And it's not people that come to you because you look the way you do, but it's because of a skill you have.
Okay.
And they'll tell you, oh, you're great as a facilitator. Would like you to come through and do the work with us, but we don't think we can be able to deal with the bullying that will come with the work. We don't think that you will look appropriate standing in front of people, you know?
Yeah.
So more than just the socials, there's thinking about work. And the more I exposed myself on the social media, and I had younger girls that looked up to me and they would inbox me. And I had been so ignorant about how much it can affect you until a girl said, Sis Khosi, I have an interview on Monday. Should I shave?
Shame.
And you don't even know how to advise this person
Yeah.
because you're almost thinking about their image, what the company is looking for, but also the honesty in it. You shave and then later on the hair grows.
and
It's
then
like
what?
you gave us a false
Yeah.
impression. And you go like that and it becomes prejudice and then you don't get the job. So you never really know, you know?
Yeah.
Every day is a struggle. And every day you almost have to think about why is this thing affecting me? So on my good days, I recall to say, why is this triggering? And on bad days,
So
then I clap back.
So what was your advice to this little one?
And it was exactly that, to say, you gotta be honest with you. So be honest, but also be wary about how they'll react. So if you shave, note that that's the precedent you're setting.
Yeah.
You will have to shave for the rest of your job there,
yeah.
you know? And if you don't shave, understand that they have a right to say, we can't hire you because of how you look. So you have to make that decision to say, do I put up a face that I think people want, or do I brave myself and have the courage to say, this is who I am and let's negotiate? If then I love the job and you want me to shave, then I'm willing to shave, or this is the job you're willing to hire me with the hair.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make that decision for her because at least I'm older, I've worked, I'm at a point in my life where I can decide if I'm taking the job or not.
Yeah.
Still showing up as I do.
Please. But you receive so much discrimination more on the job site.
It
more than
is.
anything.
It is. And they have the right because they have a brand image to keep,
Yeah.
to uphold. But at the same time, you may have jobs that will take you as you look, and then you're going to have people that will insult you. I have people that call me ladies and gentlemen. I have people that call me in Zulu, Yishanonyogo, and I look at them and I think, half the time, especially the people with abasebenzisa Yishanonyogo, I think, but you are also your mother and your father's child. So now
Yeah.
I don't
What
get
makes
how
you different?
I don't get how you would use that term and think it's supposed to be the most insult.
Yeah.
I have people that call me a man, and also on when I'm on a joker mode, I also think, but men are handsome, men are cute, some men are actually beautiful with a beard. So how am I supposed to be offended that you call me a man?
Yeah.
Because you could say I'm a man because I have a beard, but I could be a very beautiful man.
I can already think of the clapbacks I would have. Like, at least my beard is bigger than yours,
Oh man, it happens.
At least mine is big. Like, yours is still connecting.
It happens. It happens.
Because sometimes, honestly speaking, you need to protect yourself with like those clapbacks, I know sometimes it's not worth it, but sometimes you need to remind people that
you do. You
know what?
And it gets worse because for my radio show, I simulcast on TikTok. So I have to be, so it's an online radio station.
Okay.
So I can just be on the radio station. I don't have to be live on TikTok, but I do it because I have people on TikTok and they were there before the journey of the radio and then they're part of it now.
Yeah.
Now you can have numbers, and you see the numbers going up of viewers. And sometimes you don't know if it's numbers because they're enjoying the music and what you're saying, or it's numbers because people have shared and they're like, oh, come see the freak, that type of thing. I've been on holidays where people will come to you and say, have you seen The Greatest Showman? I think it's called. It's that movie with Hugh Jackman. Mm-hmm. So in that movie, there's a woman with a beard. It's a circus of all people, freaks, as they call them.
Yeah.
And one of the freaks happens to be a woman with a beard. And I actually had not seen the movie other than the people that kept asking me, oh, you look like that girl from that. And then I finally thought, okay, let me look at what this is. And she has such a powerful song that I also reenacted once, I think earlier this year. But I also have people that approach me and do interviews. So I've done articles like on your New York Post, on your Daily Mail. And then I found that, especially with like your overseas crowd, they will on the article respond or react or comment. And I think the shock was someone saying, why would you want to keep that hair? If I were you, I would just put a gun in my mouth and take the bullet.
What?
Like, who needs to die because they grow hair on their chin?
Exactly, for being different.
People are mean. People are so mean. And I also need to keep reminding myself that even if I shaved, they would find another fault.
Exactly.
So that keeps me going.
Humans are never satisfied.
No, they're not.
They will always find something.
And sadly, bullying is fashionable now.
Yeah, and I don't like how we now normalizing it, People have found comfort in bullying people they do not know.
Yes.
I mean, yes, I've created a platform to invite people into my life, but it is not a platform for you to attack me, to bully me, because at the end of the day, you've never met.
Yes. And you wouldn't say that to my face.
They would never.
Yeah.
Trust me, in public, they are the most sweetest people.
Yeah.
The most sweetest people. But because they've got like some insecurities that they need to pass on or have people feeling the way that they're feeling, then they will always want to drag you down.
They will.
But at the end of the day, it's a personal thing, how you take it, how you respond to them as well. So We can never win with people.
Which is why I say my response or reaction is always according to how I feel that day.
Yeah.
And trust, when I do clapbacks, it's when I'm happy.
No, I'm here for them. I am here for them. I'm here for them. Is there anything else that you want to share regarding Hirsutism? Hirsutism that you feel we did not touch?
I think between social media exposure and information on TikTok and information on your Google and information wherever, like the World Wide Web gives us so much information. And I find that other than the people that will bully you or ridicule, there's then the doctors. Listen, guys, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have all sorts of experts, because a person can just go Google and come back and sound like they know. And it's even more frustrating at times where someone comes to your profile, someone comes to your content, and they want to tell you what you have, how to resolve it. So you get a lot of unsolicited solutions, advice, and people that will diagnose you on the spot. They're just as irritating as
People
bullies.
are like that.
They are just as irritating as bullies. And what I've found with the people that will actually approach me because they have the hair is that they don't go to the doctors. They don't get diagnosed. They don't get to the root of their issues.
They assume.
They assume that I'm starting to grow hair. Oh my God, I've got PCOS. I'm starting to grow hair. Oh my God, I've got hirsutism. I've read somewhere that when you have hair, you can't have children. So I think the one thing that I want to say is that if you see that you have the symptoms, go get diagnosed, go figure out, get to the root of it, and then try and figure out how to solve you. Don't go with the masses.
Yeah.
And that's for the people that probably have the hair or starting to grow the hair. Now, there's also the part of support, because we've covered the people that will ridicule you or the people that react to how you look, but we need to think about, because I always say, I never know what my family go through. I don't know what they asked. I don't know what they're thinking. But I'm lucky to have a family that's always been supportive regardless of how we look. So if you are part of a family unit and there's a child, a girl child that is growing hair, help them through the journey of figuring out what it is, and whatever decision they come up with, do support them.
Yeah.
Because the world rejects you.
True.
So you need someone in your corner who's going to help you in whatever you embrace. And I would never tell anyone who grows hair to keep it or to shave it.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
It's entirely up
But
to you.
hopefully when you keep it, you surround yourself with people that will support that. And if you shave it, don't feel guilty or ashamed of the fact that you can't stand or you don't want to live with that identity.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, do you know if there is something that can be used medically to stop it from growing?
I think the issue is the fact that the facial, and we're talking just facial hair. There are people that have extra hair on their belly. There are people that have extra hair on the rest of their body. So it shows up differently. And because people tend to say women can't have facial hair, I think that's why we have that most focus. So before you just jump into shaving, waxing, or laser, find the root, because that will help. If it's a hormonal imbalance thing, then you start with the inside.
Okay.
You change your diet. You think about what you put on your skin, if it involves or contributes to the hair growth. You probably will have to take medication that will balance your hormones to reduce it. Don't just take everything you see, read, without getting diagnosed and getting to the root. You might do all of those things, and just like me, you find that it's genetic, So nothing works.
Yeah.
You might find that, and for people that, because I've been following it now that I noted that it's a medical condition and it's a symptom, there are people that will say just go for laser, and then you do laser, but you do the wrong type. Because what I discovered as well was that other than the laser itself, there's different types of laser, and there's different types of laser for different melanin skin. So what works as a laser treatment on a white skin does not necessarily work on the black skin, because we need to understand the science behind everything we do. So apparently the science behind some of the laser treatment is that it looks at probably the hair, and then some laser looks at the pigmentation. So what it will do is that for us, because we already have the darker pigmentation, then it's not as effective as on the light skin, because also their hair is lighter. Their hair is more fair. Our hair comes up as coarse.
Yeah. Because I see it's different textures as well.
With different texture, with different skin pigmentation, tone, etc. So find out the root. And if you're going to go for laser, make sure that it's the laser that will work on your type of skin and your type of hair.
Then do you have any kids, Khosi?
I don't, by choice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And siblings?
I do. I do. Because like I told you, I didn't grow up with my biological father. I have a stepfather, and between my father and my stepfather and my mother, I am one of 15 siblings.
15?
Yep.
Yo, what a big family.
Well, it's not a big family. It's just big children of the adults.
Hi, it's a big family. I always wanted that growing up, because my grandfather's side of the family, they were like 10. And then for us, we're like 3. And I'm like, we're going to get bored here. You're going to get bored. So, but do they see you differently? Or
I think every day I discover how they feel. And I think luckily from my father's side, because my father has 3 daughters, and they do have an element of being hairy, but none of them have the facial hair I do.
Oh,
now
okay.
imagine that in the 3 of them that grew up within my father's family don't have the hair, and then I come as this one who looks like the aunt. So I look like their aunt and their grandmother. and then from my mother's side, because they also have hair, I suppose the rest of my body hair looks like them. So they understand that I have the body hair, but then probably they also questioning. And I think within the family, they're not questioning the fact that I have hair. Some may question why I keep it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have they come to you and
I have both aura and attitude to say, don't dare.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You do not dare. We can have a conversation if you are going to have a great manner of approach. But I've had the discussion with some of the people. I think even the closest people to me is my mother and my brother. So from my mother's side, I have a younger brother. So here's the one that I'm closest to out of the other siblings. And because they've just always been supportive, they just questioned me once to say, so you've decided not to shave? I was like, then that was it.
Yeah.
It was not trying to convince me otherwise. And because I had to deal with the hair growing when I had moved to Cape Town away from family, most of the time my mother would say, I've seen this, I've seen these solutions. Have you tried them? I'm like, yeah, mommy, I have. I just never came to you about it.
Yeah.
And she didn't come from a place of, I want you to remove it. But she was saying, if you want to get it removed, I've done the research. And that's the type of support you can do for someone like me.
Yeah.
And also allow them to take it or not.
Yeah. Yo, Khosi, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I know for like not even for a doubt that it will reach the youngsters who now are confused, at a stage where they're confused.
Yeah.
Do I keep it? Do I let it grow? And what will people say? And now you've shown that it's not about what people say or think, but what you think of
Yes.
yourself and why you're keeping it.
Mm.
And if you want to remove it, why you want to remove it. But yeah, thank you so much for coming through. We would go
Pleasure.
on and on.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure
Yeah,
we will.
you are amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
Until next time, bye.